Let's look at the lesson for the week of June 30th, multiplying and dividing fractions. Now that you should have mastered adding and subtracting fractions in the review from last week, multiplying and dividing fractions is a lot easier because when you multiply and divide, there's no need to get a common denominator, so that takes that step out. You still do have to work with mixed numerals and improper fractions and those things, but the fact that you don't have to find that common denominator should make it more easy for you to do, or easier for you to do. So if you need to, take a look at the review, and then once you've taken a look at the review, come back and we'll do the video notes. Okay, now that you've had time to look at the review, let's take a look at the problems in the video notes. Number 1, remember that when multiplying fractions, there is no need to find a common denominator. So we multiply straight across. 1 times 3 is 3 in the numerator, and we multiply the denominator straight across. 2 times 5 is 10. Number 2, remember that when you have parentheses next to each other, it also means to multiply, the same as the dot. You're not going to see that x that you normally see for multiplication when you're working in pre-algebra, because the x is a variable that you'll be dealing with. So we're going to really be looking for the dot for multiplication or the parentheses for multiplication. So we'll multiply straight across. 5 times 1 is 5. 6 times 3 is 18. Remember that you do need to simplify them, but so far neither of these fractions have needed to be simplified. Number 3, we have 4/9 times 2/7. So 4 times 2 is 8. 9 times 7 is 63. Again, it's in simplest form. Number 4, 6 times 8 is 48, and 7 times 9 is 63. 48 over 63 can be simplified by dividing both the numerator and the denominator by 3. 48 divided by 3 is 16. 63 divided by 3 is 21. So the answer to number 4 is 16 over 21. Let's take a look at number 5. Now we have mixed numerals. When we multiply, we can't just multiply this and multiply these. We have to actually change them to improper fractions. So remember to do that. 3 times 2 plus 1 is 7 over 3. So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Denominator stays the same. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. So 11 over 3. 7 times 11 is 77. 3 times 3 is 9. Now we need to change it to a mixed numeral. So we know that 9 goes into 77 8 times, because 9 times 8 is 72. So we have 8. We have 5 left over, so 8 and 5/9. Hopefully you caught my error. When you multiply, the denominator stays the same. I saw my error as I was looking. I'm thinking there's no way that can be 8 and 5/9. Now you may not be up to that point just yet, but hopefully you'll be more careful when you're doing your fractions. So remember, 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11 over 2, not over 3. That makes this 6. So that's going to change because 6 goes into 77 12 times. 77 divided by 12 times 6 is 72. That leaves 5 over 6. Sorry about that. So be very careful when you are rewriting your fractions as an improper fraction. Remember to keep your denominator the same, not like I did it. All right, now we're going to change to some division problems. So we have 1/2 divided by 2/3. Hopefully you remember the rule for dividing. That is that we mostly do a same opposite type of thing. Just like when you learned your integers in 7th grade with subtraction, we leave the first one the same. We change the division to its opposite, which is multiplication. And then we change 2/3 to its reciprocal. So we're going to change that to 3 over 2. So 2/3, the reciprocal is 3 over 2. Just flip it upside down and then multiply straight across. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. So really, division is a multiplication problem, and the only thing you change is the division to multiplication and the second fraction to its reciprocal. Let's take a look at number 7. So the first one stays the same. Change to it multiplication. Change 4/5 to 5/4 or its reciprocal. Multiply straight across, and then you need to simplify, and they will both simplify or divide by 4. So we get 5 over 7. Number 8, same thing, 9 over 13 times 3 over 1. Now keep in mind that in the review I showed you two different ways to simplify. You can simplify before you multiply or you can simplify after you multiply. And it really makes me no difference which one of those methods you use. I'm simplifying after, even though I prefer the before, because most students are able to do the after simplification better. So 9 times 3 is 27, 13 times 1 is 13. We've got an improper fraction that we need to change back to a mixed numeral. 13 goes into 27 2 times with 1 left over. So 2 and 1 over 13. Let's take a look at number 9. Maybe I'll do a better job on this one and remember how to change my improper or my mixed numerals to improper fractions. So the first thing we want to do is change the division problem to improper fractions. So 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17. So 17 over 4 divided by 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, 3 over 2. We're going to keep that same denominator. Now we need to change 17 over 4, change it to multiplication, change 3 over 2 to 2 over 3 because we need to change to reciprocal. 17 times 2 is 34. 4 times 3 is 12. We have an improper fraction. 12 goes into 34 2 times. 2 times 12 is 24. 34 minus 24 is 10 over 12. And then we still need to simplify. And when we simplify, we get 2 and 5/6. All right, number 10. Now we've added whole numbers in with these fractions. Remember that a whole number can be changed to a fraction by putting it over 1. So 2/3 divided by 4 over 1. The next thing we need to do is change it. 2/3 times 1 over 4. And we get 2 over 12. Remember, multiplying straight across. And then simplify to 1 over 6. 11, we have a mixed numeral divided by a whole number. So the first thing we'll do is 15. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. 16 over 3 divided by, let's change 8 to a fraction. Let's change it to a multiplication problem. Times the reciprocal, and we get 16 over 24. So the reciprocal of 8 over 1 is 1 over 8. 16 times 1 is 16. 3 times 8 is 24. And when we change it or simplify it, we get 2/3. We can also multiply a fraction by a whole number. Same thing, 2/5 times 6 over 1, and then multiply straight across. 2 times 6 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 goes into 12 2 times with 2 left over. 2 and 2/5. We can also multiply whole numbers by mixed numerals. So the first thing we want to do is change that whole number to a fraction. Change our mixed numeral to an improper fraction. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. And then multiply straight across. 6 times 7 is 42. 1 times 4 is 4. And then we need to simplify. 42 divided by 14, or 4 goes into 42, actually 13 times. Caught myself on another mistake. 13 times 4 is 52. Keep in mind that I will make mistakes the same as you. I hope you catch me in them. I usually will catch myself, but I enjoy when students can actually catch me as well. That tells me that you're awake and that you understand what we're doing. So 4 goes into 42 10 times with 2 left over. And when I simplify it, I get 10 and 1/2. All right, number 14 goes back to a simple multiplication of fraction problems where you multiply across. 2 times 5 is 10, 5 times 4 is 20, and then simplify it to 1/2. Hopefully after this review you remember how to multiply and divide fractions from 7th grade and 6th grade. So you should be able to, at this point, do homework number 4, and remember that that homework assignment is the one that's going to be due in August.